Hey guys, and welcome to a showdown featuring myself in charge of the Wood Elves up against the mighty and noble Mantis, who shall be bringing my favourite children of the old ones. It is pretty rough times when I have to face down my own favourite faction, but you know, tough times come for tough measures. Before we go through my really cool build, we're going to be taking a look at something even more badass, and that is arguably my favourite mount in the entire game. Now, that's not including legendary mounts. Of course, Grimlock and Zlak hold my heart, but look how cool the Great Stag does look. Now, I do struggle in general with the Great Stag units to get good value from them, but I think it's a nice mobile force for the Glade Lady to ride on top of, and is certainly one of my favourite and best looking models that CA have released in recent times, and that's certainly saying something. They have some really cool looking stuff. So the mighty noble Great Stag shall be our Lord's mount today. She's coming with the Prey of Warhammer and Arrows of Kurnos, pretty simple stuff, looking to pin in enemy troops and bounce around the battlefield. When she props those nets, I'm going to be looking to take advantage of my Glade Guard of Starfire Shaft. We have 5 of these bad boys here, and I would argue they're the most pivotal units in this matchup. Really decent AP to get through that thick, scaly skin. In the front line, we have a bucket ton of Dryads dotted all the way along, good at dealing with skinks and holding up Saurus, and then we have a Tonal Guard in the secondary formation, and on the flanks looking to protect those archers with their lives. We have triple Glade Riders as well with spears. These guys are going to be darting in onto the enemy, trying to plug gaps and run down chameleons and the like. In the centre of our ground force, we do have a Branch Wraith coming in with Pendulum, very good at killing Saurus warriors, Melkov's Mystifying Miasma, and Earthblood, also a lovely little scroll of shielding. Pretty fun build all around, so let's hop over onto the Lizardmen and see what they bring to the table. So for the force of the dinos, we do have skink cohorts dotted along, as well as an insane number of Saurus spears going very wide, which is certainly a good way to take on the Wood Elves. Skinks on the flank, Saurus in the middle, and a couple of skink skirmishers to back up this force. We do have double Bastillon with Solar Engine, again an absolute pivotal pick here, very good at counter-shooting the Glade Guard if you can keep a good distance between them and yourselves, which is much easier said than actually done. Helping out here, though, we do have a Skink Priest or Beast coming with Flock of Doom and Manticore Summon. Manticore Summon going to be very good at penetrating our back line and distracting us. And leading the forces, we have Gorok, the Great White Lizard. I think he can be very good in this matchup in general, take down a lot of our leadership core, and he's pretty tough and hardy to snipe. So looking forward to seeing how he does fare today on a big, nice open map. So he certainly could have done a bit of skirmishing, but instead we've gone for the more stagnant kind of formation of just lining up our troops and unleashing hell upon the enemy. Big Shot does beam across the skies there, missing by an absolute mile to signal the start of the battle. And we return in kind. Arrows of Kurnos going into that Skink Priest, doing some okay damage. And now the Glade Guard is Starfire Shafts, getting a little bit eager, popping up to try and do some damage on to the Bastillon with Solar Engines, and a Big Shot is going to be coming through, doing some really nice damage to the Glade Guard. I really like the Solar Engines in general. I think they're very powerful units. So we're getting a little over eager, so we're going to have to charge in with our Dryads and Eternal Guard to try and keep up with our Starfire Shafts. And I realised my mistake, so I'm actually going to be pulling those guys back a little bit, letting the battle engage as far away as possible from my bowline, although we're taking pretty considerable damage out of the gate here from those Solar Engines. Luckily though, the Glade Lady is going to be bounding forward on her glorious Stag mount, who does bobble his head left and right, just going up and down the line, screaming death and vengeance. Glade Guard are now unleashing hell and havoc upon some skink cohorts. Not the best target for me. We are going to get an Earthblood on them as well to try and keep them nice and happy and topped up. Branch Wraith going to be engaging in the front line, trying to pin in these skinks and Saurus warriors. Though some big shots coming dangerously close to the little tree lady. Oh, on the far side, the Solar Engine unfortunately has been dragged forward a bit too much by my opponent. Big Pendulum coming down as well, slaughtering bucket tons of Saurus. And this Solar Engine is certainly paying the price now for its hubris of coming so close. Triple Glade Guard focusing it down, doing massive burst damage. This poor boy really not having a good day. And we've actually used our Glade Riders on the flanks now to break some skink cohorts. Eternal Guard as well, holding back Saurus with spears, which is going to be a bit of a damp lettuce fight as those guys just kind of rub against each other for a while. Glade Guard continue to pour in, but Gorok is leading a ferocious charge straight down the gullet of our forces onto the Eternal Guard, whipping his mace around and raising his shield high, hiding behind it as the Glade Guard continue to pepper some shots. Branch Wraith is going to fall back. The flanks are being secured now by my riders, who are doing a pretty lovely job. the Glade Guard now focus firing down that little Skink Priest, trying to get him off the field before he can do any Manticore summons, but unfortunately I am a little too late, and it looks like the Manticore has been birthed into the world. Glade Guard, though, continue to fire as the Glade Lady charges in, rearing at those hooves and trying to scare off the Priest. Doing some good work there all around, trusting the Elvish archery to not hit her from behind. Skink Skirmishers, though, continue to pressure forward, do some nice damage to our Eternal Guard, and in the back, absolute havoc. Feral Manticore is doing some really nice work popping on top of the Glade Guard. Not going to be getting the most value from him, but it's shutting down my archers, which is his absolute must-do on his big tick list on how to win this battle. Both Glade Guard are now running, Skinks chasing them down. Some desperate Dryads and Glade Riders who are very beat up, both of them, coming in to try to salvage this situation. Glade Lady needs to get back there and help out, as we have some Eternal Guard in the middle, just not doing too much. Need to be falling back and helping out my own lines. In the back lines, the Bastildon is getting charged down by some Glade Riders. I really want to get this guy off the field. He's rather low HP at this point, so I'm hoping the charge will be able to break him, but it's going to be a tough fight. Yes, Bastildons don't have the best melee attack and melee defense, but when they hit, boy, do they hit. And some Skink Skirmishers and Saurus Warriors coming over here to assist, as well as the other Bastildon looking to save his friend. In the back lines, it's a messy affair. Glade Guard are being chased off. Good pressure by my opponent. He's really force clicking his way through as I'm trying to hunt him down with Dryads, but he's having absolutely none of it. And a very loud second Manticore summon goes down there in the mid stages of the battle. Probably going to be looking to float over here, and all the Glade Guard are now getting shut down. Some of the Riders have come in, Branch Rage as well as the Eternal Guard, trying to pin in Gork where possible. We don't have too much to deal with him even. He's just using that shield to beat back Eternal Guard, fling them onto the ground and trample them with claw and foot. Glade Guard are retreating here, trying to do a nice little bit of cover from their friends here onto the Skink cohort. Dryads just in an ever-desperate pursuit, hunting down these Skinkies. Gorok taking a tiny bit of damage, but not too much. Eternal Guard continue to push through. Source Warriors are struggling in the back line. Some of our Eternal Guard have unfortunately been terrified, and it is a desperately close fight in the back here. Glade Riders are terrified, with the Bastildon just about clinging on. 670 health. Probably should have kept those guys back and tried to help the back line a little bit more. Otherwise, you know, this unfortunate stuff can happen. But the Glade Lady, she's not having none of this rubbish from Gary. We're popping an Arrows of Kurnos into his flank, doing some nice damage, and those Glade Riders can now come back and help finish him off for good. Skink Priest has been driven away by the Glade Lady, who is surrounded by Saurus Warriors now. Not an engagement she realistically wants to take. Up to 13 kills though, not doing too bad of a job whatsoever. Eternal Guard slowly beating at the Saurus Spears. In the back line, when the battle will be won or lost, we are pouring fire in now, trying to focus down Gorok, which seems like a bad idea. 100 armor, silver shield. It's not going to be the funnest time for us to shoot at. Stand Your Ground has been popped on him as well, but we don't really have any options. We have nothing to take him down in the late game, so we need to try and pour fire on him to bring him down and hope we can break the Saurus Warriors with a few shots of ammunition and the low leadership they would get. And Gorok is taking quite a hefty beating now, down to about a third health, getting shot in the rear as well. Not going to be a fun time for him whatsoever, although nice play by my opponent. Skink Coyotes continuing to pressure, always driving at his main goal, which is these Glade Guard, doing a fantastic job so far. But we are popping a Nerf Blood up on the Branch Rage, keeping her nice and happy, so she can do some nice work in the late game. Gorok has been hit by a prey of another Raymer, although is it a little bit too late there, as the Glade Guard struggling to line up their shots like we were earlier. These other tuners a bit out of range, but now we're pouring on the fire with that minus to the missile resistance. We're certainly doing some nice damage, but the Glade Guard a little bit kind of lacking, I suppose, in numbers now. 21 here. Unit 54, though, pouring on that damage thick. Glade Lady is going to be driving back on top of these Skink Skirmishers, trying to aid the Branch Wraith and holding the back line, and she certainly does have pretty decent charge bonus when on the mount of 60. Coming in here, 17 melee attack, certainly not too bad. That is buffed by the Branch Wraith's presence, however. Big Solar Engine shot goes into his own Skink Skirmishers there, who have been a little bit blinded. Melkov's Mr. Fun Miasma is going to be popped on them, not only to break them, but also to slow them down, allow the Glade Guard to recover their breath a little bit. We're running scary low on ammunition at this point, and Gorok is still alive, and even scarier perhaps is the Bastildon with Solar Engine. Glade Riders, who have come back from chasing down and finishing off one of the engines in the back line, are now diving on top of the Skink Skirmishers, but they're so beat up at this point, they are getting forced off, and balance power is slowly turning against us. Glade Lady, though, still not doing too bad. It's going to be able to finish off these Saurus Spears, and can now be used to dart over and beat back the Saurus Warriors. It's a real fighting retreat from us now. trying where possible to save our ammunition on the Glade Guard, so we can save those shots for the Bastildon as well as Gorok, because if we kill both of them, this battle, there's still hope, particularly with some healing coming in from the Branch Wraith, who once again heals herself up, as well as these Glade Guard. Although they don't have ammunition at this point, their main job is to absorb the Skink Skirmisher shots, so my other Glade Guard can survive, because we have decent ammunition left. 6 shots on this unit, looks like 6 on this one, and 3 on the last one, though every shot is going to have to count. And it looks like the Bastildon is nearly out of ammunition. Glade Guard doing their job of just taking dart after dart to the face. Unfortunately, the Branch Wraith, eating up the last few shots from that solar engine, is indeed going to be running for her life. However, we are fighting back. Glade Lady jumping to and fro, rearing those mighty horns and or antlers to kind of skewer and gorge upon the Saurus warriors. Big shot is going to be going into Gorok there as well from the Arrows of Kurnos, just trying to finish him off, down to 896 health there. He is certainly getting very low, but so is the Glade Lady herself, 1,200 health remaining. Guard have managed to stall the advance of the Saurus warriors, as well as some Skink Skirmishers, to allow the Branch Wraith to rally herself back to the fray. Gorok taking a load of shots now, down to 800, just about 819 health. Ammunition getting very dry. We continue to pour shots in. Praven Armor has gone down, and this time we have timed it very well. A few of the shots missing, but down to 700 health now. He's 15 HP, waving a little bit, but nothing too bad. Glade Lady is now desperately trying to escape the clutches of the Bastildon, but she is rather swift. Flock of Doom comes down on the Glade Guard. Looks like that pesky Skink Priest has managed to rally and come back into the fray. Gain some nice damage on one of our units, which actually has ammo left, so really good targeting once again by the Lizardmen. Branch Wraith has driven off these Saurus warriors though, and the Skink Skirmishers are struggling. Glade Guard are in a desperate fight in combat. The Glade Lady driving back, driving her mount hard in to those Skinks, trying to break them. Glade Guard though are falling back at the moment in a desperate retreat. Likewise, more Skink cohorts have managed to pop through. We have some Glade Riders who can come back to the fray in the distance there, and more Glade Guard as well rallying on this left-hand flank to try and stem the tide of lizard folk approaching. We luckily have these Glade Guard with 2 ammunition left, continuously pouring fire into Gorok. 670 health certainly isn't too much. However, our army is really faltering now. Balance of power is ebbing and flowing away from us. Branch Lady is doing her best here up against the Bastildon, but certainly no might for the legendary Gary. Skink Skirmishers are pushing forward now. Glade Riders desperately trying to hold the line, push them down, buy time for this last unit, but the Skinks continue to pour through. I think we just need to use up that last shot of ammunition. Glade Guard continue to hunt down Gorok. Stand the ground has been popped on him, down to 600 health, and we are beelining for him, bounding across the field in our mighty Stag Knight. Well, it looks like we have actually paused here a second. We are a little bit exhausted, so nice little break for him there. I think we're trying to unload the remainder of our ammunition as we charge forward. Gorok shield raised high, but facing the wrong way. Glade Guard continuing to flee from the Skink Skirmishers, who aren't great in combat either. And we do have some rallying Glade Guard in the distance. Gorok turns to face his main enemy, his adversary, and the Stag rears, trying to trample Gorok under hoof, bounding left and right. With a mighty slap on the ground, we have managed to push him down and finish off the Great White Lizard. We're bloodied, but we're not out of this yet. Using our speed to evade the Saurus Spears and Saurus Warriors on this flank, we're going to come round to try and save this unit of Glade Guard. However, the big Bastildon is a scary foe. 5,560 HP. Going to be a tough one to break, but not the greatest leadership on him. So with their Lord going down, perhaps there is hope yet. Skink Skirmishers have been driven from the field. That Glade Lady has been really all over the battlefield all day today. Glade Guard unleashing their last ammunition here. Looks like they literally have a 1 volley, pouring that ammunition on thick onto the Bastildon, who's lost about a third of his morale here. More Glade Guard are coming back. These guys have ammunition on them as well. We're going to be pulling wide with the Glade Lady, trying to avoid the Bastildon at all costs and break everything else before facing him down. Clattering into the Saurus Warriors. Did some nice work before falling back. We have some Eternal Guard, 14 of those bad boys trying to return to the fray, but to be honest, they're not going to even make it very close. More Glade Guard as well to come into hand-to-hand combat. Fortunately, we are out of ammo now, so that does mean sword time. Whipping out those swords, and we'll do decent damage up against the Skink Skirmishers, but the Saurus Warriors are a different beastly entirely. We managed to break off the majority of the Lizardmen forces now. Glade Lady is very low, pretty much wavering herself, coming in to try and break the Saurus Spears, and we actually come in with a massive hit, breaking them, breaking the Skink Skirmishers as well. They're wavering, but we unfortunately do flee our Mount Bucking and run in for the hills. A valiant defeat, but a very fun game nonetheless. Well played to Noble Mantis, really good stuff on his behalf, and his build in general I think is a very strong meta build. If you're struggling up against Wood Elves with Lizardmen, bring something like this. Go very wide with your Saurus, go a load of spears as well, load of skinks, skirmishers just to blow dart people down, double Bastiladon with Solar Engine is an absolute must in my opinion here in this matchup. As for ourselves, we went relatively meta as well with the Glade Guard Starfire Shafts, but mixing up here and there with a few more fun and unique units, like the Stag Mount, which I've been inspired by Falcon, was watching him in WWC, and saw all the great Stag Knights, and I've been using them an absolute ton recently. I do tend to struggle to get value with them, but I'm getting better and better at using them. We'll certainly be seeing them on the channel at some point soon. Hope you guys enjoyed. We'll get to damage value and damage dealt in just a second, but if you enjoyed, feel free to leave a big old thumbs up. It really helps out the channel. Likewise, subscribing and commenting does as well. So feel free to leave a quack down below. Your favourite moments in the battle, favourite lords and so forth, any content you would like to see in the future. If you subscribe as well, you get to see more Total War Warhammer action. We drop content every single day. Videos, live streams, all that good stuff. And if you want to see your videos up on the channel, your battles I should say, feel free to join my Discord. There's a link down below where you can train, meet new people, just chill out and vibe. You can just pop in there and just be a quiet guy who's keeping up to date as well with the channel. It's absolutely up to you. You do normally receive a duck on your joining as well. There's also a link to my Patreon down below if you want to support in any other way, or you can become a member here on YouTube. But anyway, enough of that stuff. On to the good stuff. The Glade Lady, she bounded around the battlefield quite a lot, but only 1,379 damage value. She was mainly hitting small value targets. Still, her nets were pretty key in allowing us to try and drag our way into the game. Likewise, the Branch Wraith, pretty good work, 1,146 damage value, with some pretty good Earthbloods, but those pendulums breaking the middle portion of the Lizardmen build really helped us out quite a bit. And along the line, the Dryads and Eternal Guard kind of struggled a little bit, not getting much value. It was really our Glade Guard where it was going to be won or lost. 555 damage value here, 1.2, 463, 868 and 768. Certainly not enough to claim victory, though we managed to make it close. Spear Riders did an okay job as well. I probably should have used them a bit more conservatively, rather than charging them forward and trying to finish off the Bastiladon. Should have allowed our Glade Guard to do that. And I think if we had protected the Glade Guard a little bit better from the mid-game where the Skinks were pushing through with these guys, we would have had a really good shout of winning. As for Noble Mantis, Gorok basically got no damage value, but he absorbed so much damage. It was a real solid rock in the centre of the formation leading his army. Likewise, the Skink Priest, not much of work done, but the Double Man's Claws were a big pain in the butt. Across the board, you can see this unit of Skink cohorts actually again over double their value. 687 damage value for a 300 gold unit is really nice stuff. 400 on this one. Source Warriors, 1,384 damage value. The others a little bit more respectable. 900 is a bit of a shout out there. The Spear Warriors not doing quite so good. Skirmishers though, pretty decent work. 681 damage value on one unit, 757 on the other. I think Skink Skirmishers as well as Chameleon Skinks are very good in this matchup. The Wood Elves, as a rule of thumb, don't have particularly amazing armour, so these guys peppering them all day will add up. As for the Bastiladons with Solar Engine, nice work with them. 877 damage value on one, 1,343 on the other, gaining 2 chevrons. An absolute MVP. Anyway guys, hope you enjoyed this one. Until next time, peace, peace. And as always, stay awesome.